Thanks for coming back to watch the second part of this. What I'm going to do is try to pull out some of the rust indentations there. File anything down that doesn't look like it needs to be there. Then I'm going to epoxy a piece of wood, piece of oak into here. That'll be tricky getting that shot because I'll have to do some trimming and finagling, and I'm probably going to have to do it a couple times before I get it right. But anyway, after I come through and file out some of the bigger dents and whatnot, I'm going to come back and try to polish this with just a worn out roll lock wheel. And then maybe even take it over to my bench grinder polisher and see how it cleans up. Anyway, I'm going to get started. I'm also using I've got an internal microphone that's located on the front of this camcorder, but then I also have the Takstar boom mic, which is the $25 version of the Rode mic. So anyway, I saw some reviews on it, and I figured for $25 I'll give it a shot and see how it works out. The acoustics in this room, I'm not sure how much they affect it because it's wall-to-wall tools. So anyway, I'm going to toy around with that a little bit, so you might hear some differences in the audio from clip to clip. But anyway, it just goes back to me trying to make the videos better, trying to make them more concise, but like not necessarily entertaining, but not to the point where they're 30 seconds long. I try to get a little bit of detail in these, but skip over the monotonous parts like what you're going to see here. The initial sort of buffing and cleaning. There are some pecker tracks in here for whatever reason. They don't seem to interrupt the operation of this at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start working on the handle, and then once I get the handle on here and get everything fit, then you'll see there'll be quite a bit of sanding involved, and this whole thing will get turned brown again from me just handling it. But anyway, so anyway, there's more cleanup to come is what I'm going to say. Right here, when I drilled this section out, I said might have to come back and remanufacture something to go in here. Because this is so... what I figured out was happening is that the tang from the handle part, from the head all the way down, is pounded out through the handle and then expanded, like riveted, and then filed clean. So without devastating the back of this handle, and even here it looks like it's going to be pretty hard to get out of there. It's not worth the effort to try to take it all apart. because I'm going to do more damage than I'm going to do good. But the pin that I thought was holding this in initially, instead of refabricating it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a brass rod to hold the wood together. This is just a little drift I have, but I'm going to open this hole up to a 1/4 inch once I get the wood cut to size, and then I'm going to epoxy all this together with some BSI, the Bob Smith Industries 2-part epoxy. And between the epoxy locking the joints up, this brass pin, the rivet on the back, just the interference along here, this is never coming apart. So anyway, that's what makes sense to me at this point in time. So I'm going to get to the woodworking section. There's a lot of back and forth with this between here and the other side of the shop with the sander, so I'm going to bring you back. Alright, so I took the time to miter this one out with a chisel, but then I overdid it on the sander and made it too sharp. So that's what I was talking about, where I buy a lot of wood and keep taking stabs at it. It's time consuming, but you know, eventually I'll get it right. Jackman Woodworks doesn't do tool handles that I know of anyway, but he does some really, really cool woodworking stuff. So anyway, if you're more of the woodworking kind, go check that channel out. Just amazing stuff. So this is sort of pitiful, and I'm reluctant to include it in the channel, but I try to be honest with my stuff. Try not to make everything look rosy. So anyway, I'm going to try it again, bring it back. Alright, now I've got the wood handle pretty much formed out and pressed in there to fit. One of my problems, the reason I just scrapped the other piece, is that the distance on one side and the other was different, and I was just picking up the tool interchangeably. And anyway, these two sides aren't identical. So anyway, it was just I was being lazy and I made a mistake, and it cost me a little time. Alright, sorry about that. I just want to get you a shot. Got the wrench in the vise, and it says 5-minute epoxy. I think 5 minutes is working time. I'm going to give it a couple hours, and then come back and see how it worked out. Alright, I've got it epoxied together. Now I'm just going to start taking it down with the die grinder until I get close to where I want to be. Then I'll drill the hole out, pound this together. I just have one hole through this. Alright, so this is the Johnson's paste wax. I use it on just about everything metal in the shop to try to keep the rust and the oxidation down. I believe they use it on table saw work surfaces to help keep the wood from sticking to it. And then again, it doesn't hurt the wood. It's like if you use WD-40, you don't want WD-40 on your furniture grade plywood or anything, but you wouldn't mind a little furniture polish. So anyway, the handles, the process that I'm doing, I get a little bit of roux on them from the wire wheel or from the buffing wheel, which adds a little color, which probably isn't supposed to be there. But I would be more careful and change the process if these were going to be wall hangers or something. But you know, I'm going to actually use these tools, so having grease on the handle of a wrench isn't going to really give me any heartburn. I mean, I had the same thing happen with this, but you know, I use the damn thing, so what's the difference? So anyway, I'm going to keep polishing this up, or just rubbing this down with the Johnson's paste wax, and I'm going to put it in the workbench or toolbox. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. If you have a minute, take a time, fill this thing out. I was looking at the analytics on my channel, and it turns out that from what YouTube is telling me, that most of you guys are using a cell phone to watch this, which is interesting, but it would, in my mind, explain why I'm not getting any comments, because it's a pain in the butt to leave a comment. So if you and likes or anything, I don't get money, I'm not monetized or any of that shit, but I'm just trying to get a feel for if you guys approve or disapprove of how I'm making these things and why. I mean, I can tell by the number of views and the duration of how long you watch it, on whether you like it or not, or whether it's what you're interested in, which are sort of two different things. But anyway, for those of you that are actively searching out tool restoration things, like the people that are subscribed to Hand Tool Rescue, who does like an awesome job of this stuff, I'm not trying to steal his stuff or trying to riff off of it. I love that channel. I subscribe to it. I'd say you're much better, time is much better served watching him if you really want to see these things done in a neat way. But he does some things that aren't going to be in the workbench. I love the channel, but you know, I'm sort of a little different because I want to clean these tools up and actually use them. So that's how I differ from that. And anyway, I think I've had about enough of this. Hope you enjoy. Like, comment, dislike it, tell me why. Thanks for watching.